Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thank you very much for making some time out of your day to check the video out. I know everybody's got a busy schedule and it's hard to get time to watch videos, so thanks a lot for visiting the channel today. We are going to be talking about what I think is the biggest mistake that most anglers make when they fish in the month of June. We're going to talk about quite a bit of June stuff, obviously during the month of June, since this is the 1st of June. But specifically, I want to talk about two things that anglers do to sort of undermine their success in this month, because a lot of people don't really fully understand, exactly how the fish move, their personalities and behavior in the transitional month of June. So we're going to get into that. So first, guys, I'd like to invite everybody out there. One way, if you'd like to support the channel here, the content, one of the best ways you can do it is becoming a channel member. And channel members get extra videos every week that aren't seen by the public, and access to my personal email address for some memberships. And if you're interested, just go to my YouTube homepage and you'll see a little join button at the bottom. You can click on that and it gives you all the info for that. So much appreciated. Okay guys, we're gonna get into the two things. I'm gonna talk about the two main mistakes that anglers make in the month of June and what you can do to fix it out, or fix it. First of all, most anglers fish either they're not fishing shallow enough or they're not fishing deep enough in the month of June. They tend to fish the depth, the mid-depth ranges where a lot of the fish aren't at. So I want to talk a little bit about the deep fish first, then we'll talk about the shallow fish. Guys, in June, in most of the lakes across the country, after those fish spawn, there's a percentage of the fish, not all of them, but there's a percentage of these bass that they go deeper in June than about any other month of the year. They just, obviously it depends on the lake and the water clarity and that type of stuff, but most man-made lakes out there, there's a population of fish, especially quality fish, that go deep and they get on the bottom and they stay there for about a month. And normally what happens by about, July, lakes start to stratify a little bit, they lose their oxygen and they start to move off the bottom and they start to suspend a little bit more, scattered out. But one of the things that you can do as far as in June, once that water temperature starts to getting up about 75 degrees, start fishing deeper than what you think the fish are really going to be at. And my favorite zone is sort of that 20 to 30 foot zone. I'm not saying that fish don't get deeper that in the winter time, but a lot of times those fish are suspended. But in June, they tend to school up in that deeper water on the bottom. And a lot of times they're on points and ledges, breaks, that type of stuff, any type of hard structure. They're not really, just out deep to being deep. Normally they're on point ends and sides, tucked down on the bottom, bellies on the bottom, and they stay there, like I said, for pretty much the month of June out there. One of my favorite ways to catch them is either a deep diving crankbait or a football head jig. Those are probably the two best techniques that you can use. And June is, we've talked a little bit about this before, June is my favorite month for deep cranking. I mean, I like to put a big deep diving crankbait like that excuse me, that Megabass Deep 6 or the DD22 or something like that, put it on 10 to 12 pound test line and try to max it out down in that 12 to 18 foot range. Man, you can catch some really good fish doing that. And usually when you get bit by more than one. They're usually schooled up out there. So main thing, guys, if you're fishing sort of that 5 to 10 foot zone, which a lot of people do in June, try moving out there deeper. Just get out on some points, get out there in 25, 30 foot of water and start fishing around out there. The next thing, guys, on the other end of the spectrum is guys don't fish shallow enough. And you hear me talk a lot on this channel about bedding bluegill and bedding perch, pumpkin seeds, all that type of stuff. A lot of people don't realize how big of a deal this is and how it keeps fish shallow, extremely shallow in the month of June. Because in the month of June, it's the bluegill and the perch spawn are full on. It's like they go back into those same type of areas that the bass have spawned in. They get really shallow, they get 1 to 3 foot deep. And guys, there's another percentage of the fish, different population of the fish that live in, 12 inches, 1 foot of water to 3 feet of water, all during the month of June. And if you have a lake that's got some pretty good clarity in it, like if you got 3 foot of clarity or so, you can see them cruising everywhere back in there. I mean, they're roaming, looking for perch back in there. So a lot of people are out there, they're, fishing a little bit deeper on docks or maybe secondary points or deeper banks. But man, try to get up there in that super shallow water, look for overhanging trees, look for shady areas. Bluegill love to bed around overhanging trees and shady areas. And, you know, get back in there, fish a topwater, fish a frog, fish a swim jig, something like that. Throw it right up on the bank, and don't be afraid to fish that, you know, 12 inches of water, because those fish they'll charge out of nowhere and grab it in that real shallow water. So main two things, guys, is try to avoid the mid depths in June a little bit, get super shallow or get really deep, and I think it's going to add up some good success for you. So we'll talk to y'all later. See you.